1. Causes and types of international conflicts. A. Introduction. International conflict refers to disputes between sovereign states or among a state and non-state actors that result in tension, hostility, or outright violence. The modern international system, shaped by state sovereignty, nationalism, and competing interests, provides both the platform for cooperation and the conditions for conflict. Understanding the causes and types of international conflicts is essential for scholars, policymakers, and global citizens alike in the pursuit of peace, stability, and sustainable development. B. Theoretical foundations for understanding conflict. Before identifying specific causes and typologies, it is necessary to briefly examine the theoretical lenses through which international conflicts are analyzed. Realism emphasizes the anarchic nature of the international system, the pursuit of power, and national interest. Realists argue that conflicts are inevitable, due to states seeking to maximize security or dominance. Liberalism stresses the role of international institutions, democracy, and economic interdependence. Liberals see conflict as avoidable through cooperation and the spread of democratic values. Constructivism focuses on the role of ideas, identities, and discourse. Constructivists argue that conflict often stems from socially constructed threats or historical narratives. Marxism and critical theories emphasize economic inequalities, class struggles, and the exploitative nature of capitalist systems, often pointing to imperialism and resource exploitation as key drivers of conflict. C. Causes of international conflicts. Territorial disputes, one of the most ancient and enduring causes of conflict. States may contest borders due to historical claims, strategic value, or resource endowments. Examples: India and Pakistan over Kashmir, Russia and Ukraine over Crimea. Resource competition. Struggles over scarce natural resources such as water, oil, gas, minerals, or fertile land. Environmental degradation and climate change are increasing competition. Example: Nile River tensions among Egypt, Ethiopia, and Sudan, South China Sea, disputes over maritime resources. Nationalism and ethnic identity. Ethno-nationalist sentiments often fuel secessionist or irredentist conflicts. Conflict may arise when ethnic groups seek autonomy or unification with kin across borders. Examples: Yugoslav wars in the 1990s, Israel-Palestine conflict, the Kurds across Iraq, Turkey, and Syria. Religious and ideological differences. Deeply rooted religious convictions or ideological divides can exacerbate tensions. Sectarian conflict. G. Sunni versus Shia or ideological rivalry. G. Liberal democracy versus authoritarianism. Examples: Iran, Saudi Arabia rivalry, Cold War, capitalism versus communism, ISIS versus secular states, power politics, and balance of power. Conflicts occur when rising powers challenge existing hegemonies. Thucydides' trap: a rising power causes fear in an established power, escalating to war. Examples: U.S. China tensions, Germany versus Britain pre-WWI, failed states and power vacuums. Collapse of central authority often invites foreign intervention or regional proxy wars. Example: Syria civil war and great power involvement, Libya post-Gaddafi, Somalia. Economic interests and trade disputes. Trade imbalances, sanctions, or competition for markets may lead to tensions. Economic warfare through tariffs, blockades, or investment restrictions may precede or accompany military action. Example: U.S. China trade war sanctions on Iran and North Korea, historical grievances and revenge. Past wars, colonialism, genocide, or humiliations can create lasting resentment. These grievances often become politicized and used to justify aggression or revanchism. Examples: Sino-Japanese tensions over WI2, Russia's view of NATO expansion post-Cold War, misperception and miscommunication. Conflicts can arise not from actual hostility, but from misjudging intentions. The security dilemma: one state's defensive measures are perceived as offensive by others. Example: U.S. Soviet Cold War escalation, Cuban Missile Crisis, proxy wars and external interference. Global or regional powers support conflicting parties, in another state for strategic reasons, often driven by ideological rivalry, regional dominance, or access to resources. Example U.S. and USSR in Afghanistan, Iran, and Saudi Arabia in Yemen. D. Types of international conflicts. Interstate wars, armed conflict between sovereign states, often involve formal declarations of war, regular armies, and large-scale casualties. Examples: World Wars I and II, Iran-Iraq War, 1980–1988. Intrastate conflicts with international involvement. Civil wars that draw in foreign states or international actors. Examples: Syrian Civil War, Libyan Civil War, Rwandan genocide. Proxy wars, conflicts in which external powers support local actors to advance their geopolitical interests, often occur during periods of ideological contestation. Examples: Vietnam War, Angola, Civil War. Cold War context, Yemen today. Asymmetric warfare, conflict between states and non-state actors, such as guerrilla groups or terrorist organizations. State actors typically have technological superiority. Non-state actors use irregular tactics. Examples: U.S. in Afghanistan and Iraq, Israel-Hezbollah conflict. Economic and trade conflicts. Non-military confrontations involving sanctions, tariffs, embargoes, or economic coercion can severely impact global trade and diplomatic relations. Examples: U.S. China trade conflict, U.S. sanctions on Cuba or Iran. Cyber conflicts. Digital warfare involving cyber attacks on infrastructure, data theft, or election interference. Often waged covertly, attribution is difficult. Examples: alleged Russian interference in U.S. elections, Stuxnet virus in Iran's nuclear facilities. Cold conflicts or frozen conflicts. Situations of unresolved tension where active warfare has ceased, but peace is not established. These can reignite into full-scale wars. Examples: North and South Korea, Nagorno-Karabakh before 2020, Moldova, Transnistria. Environmental and climate conflicts. Emerging category involving disputes over environmental degradation, forced migration, or climate refugees. Climate stress may exacerbate pre-existing ethnic or political tensions. Examples: Lake Chad Basin, crisis, Darfur conflict, partly linked to drought and resource scarcity. Trends in contemporary conflicts. Decline in traditional interstate wars. While large-scale wars between great powers have become rarer, civil wars and proxy conflicts are increasing. Rise of non-state actors, groups like ISIS, Al-Qaeda, or paramilitary militias are reshaping the landscape of conflict. Hybrid warfare combining conventional force, cyber operations, misinformation, and economic coercion. Regionalization of conflict. Localized conflicts now draw in regional powers, creating a multi-layered battlefield, e.g. Syria, Yemen. Information and psychological warfare, social media, propaganda, and AI-generated content are being used to manipulate perceptions and erode trust. Legal and normative warfare, international law, human rights discourse, and norms are being used as tools of geopolitical competition. Lawfare. V. Approaches to conflict prevention and resolution. Diplomacy and negotiation. Dialogue, mediation, and confidence-building measures. International institutions, UN, OSCE, African Union, and other bodies. Mediate and deploy peacekeeping missions. Economic integration and interdependence. Encouraging cooperation through trade, shared infrastructure, and mutual benefits. Early warning systems, using data to identify signs of impending conflict and intervene preventively. Transitional justice and reconciliation. Addressing historical grievances through truth commissions and reparations. Norm building and international law, strengthening adherence to norms, such as the responsibility to protect R2P and international humanitarian law. Education and dialogue. Initiatives. Long-term investments in intercultural dialogue, peace education, and civil society. F. Conclusion. International conflict remains one of the most persistent challenges in global affairs, while the causes of conflict are multifaceted, ranging from material interests to historical identities. Their manifestations continue to evolve with technological environmental, and geopolitical shifts, the key to reducing the frequency and intensity of such conflicts lies in a holistic understanding of their root causes, proactive engagement in peace-building mechanisms, and a commitment to justice, cooperation, and sustainable development across borders.